So I guess we're going to do the chanting first. All right. Are we ready? Okay. Let's start with the Namo Tassa. We go from this. Oh yeah, that's right. You can see it from there. That's right. Okay. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Tisaranagamana nititang. Very good. On the next page. Bam, bam. Okay, I take. Good? All right. Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Kame Sumichachara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Musa Vada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Sura Meraya Machapamadhatana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Well done. Very good. Okay, so we continue with Iti Piso. Iti Piso Bhagava Arahant Samma Sambuddho. Vichacharana Sampanno Sukhato Lokavidu. Anuttaro Purisa Dhamma Sarati. Satta Deva Manusanang Buddho Bhagavati. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo. Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Naiko Pachatang Veritampo Vinyuhiti. Supatipanno Bhagavato Savakasangho. Uchupatipanno Bhagavato Savakasangho. Nyayapatipanno Bhagavato Savakasangho. Samichipatipanno Bhagavato Savakasangho. Yadidang Chattari Purisayukani Ata Purisa Bukala Esa bhagavato savaka sangho Bahuneyo Dhakineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anuttaram Punya Ketang Lokasati. Okay, I guess we did that in English, the method. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be happy. Where beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state, through anger or ill will, wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with the boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outward and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding the wrong views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Very good. Da-da-da. Very good. Yeah. I don't usually prepare for my talks. Is it my talk time now? Yes. But I felt my mind was all over the place this morning, so I said, I should do something. So I just read a little bit of suttas. Oh, there's some YouTube videos I watched last night. Okay, not that one. All right. Oh, no, it's that one. I have this cool app. There's one of our monks in Bodhinyana made this really nice app, and it's so useful for us monks. So I have everything in my tablet now. I just love it. Everywhere I go, I have all the books with me, and things come to my mind. I can just look it up in the suttas. So. Also, there's a really brilliant thing where Bhante Suchado is doing the Sutta Central. So if anybody's interested in Suttas, please go to Sutta Central. Highly recommend it. Bhante Suttado is doing a great project. Bhante Suttado is, nobody knows, he's quite a senior Australian monk. He lives in Sydney, and he's a brilliant teacher. He's a Pali scholar, and he just translated all the suttas into Pali again because there was an issue with Bhikkhu Bodhi's translations. They are not for free domain, so he had to do them all over again. So he put so much effort. He went a couple years. He lived in this remote island just off of Taiwan, and he lived there, and he was just translating the suttas. So, and he put them more into language which flows. Bhikkhu Bodhi's translations are brilliant, of course. Obviously, a lot of us would read Bhikkhu Bodhi, but his language tends to be quite technical sometimes. So, Bhante Suttado has done a beautiful job. So we can start at that. So, I don't know if today's topic is going to be Kamma, but it might end up there. At least the start is that way. Never know. With my mind, it just goes all over the place. So, Kamma or Karma, what does it mean? Everybody always uses this word, Kamma. Oh, it's my Kamma. I got sick, it's my Kamma. Is that true? Is that your Kamma? Oh, somebody got hit by the car. It's their Kamma. There was a tsunami in Sri Lanka, and a lot of people died in one village. It was their Kamma. That's their karma, was it? Is it? Are we using the term correctly, how the Buddha meant it to be? The Kamma. If you get sick, is it your Kamma? What do you think? Cause and condition, cause and effect. So everything is cause and effect. That's what the Buddha taught, right? It's cause and condition. So obviously you would think, whatever you put a cause, the condition, the cause would come out, right? The Buddha did teach that way. So everything would be Kamma then, right? No. The Buddha never taught that, unfortunately. There's a bit of a misunderstanding, unfortunately, and it's been, especially I've heard in the Mahayana tradition, there's quite a strong idea that everything is Kamma. And there's karma, they say more like karma. That's the Sanskrit word. But the Buddha, unfortunately, did not teach that. So you are using the word wrongly, and I will prove that. So I was thinking about this a little bit, and why I came to this being, because somebody asked me some time ago that there's sometimes you hear this, that there is different things which causes Kamma, or which are not Kamma. And I looked into where is it in the suttas? And it's in the Samyutta Nikaya. And this is from Bhante Suttado's translation. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagaha in the bamboo grove, the squirrel sanctuary. And then the wanderer, Moliyasivaka, approached the Blessed One and exchanged greetings with them. When they had concluded their greetings and cordial talk, he sat down to one side and said to the Blessed One. So that was just the normal way the suttas always start. Master Gautama, there are some ascetics and Brahmins who hold such a doctrine and view as this. Whatever person experiences, whether it's pleasant or painful, neither painful nor pleasant, all that is caused by what is done in the past. What does Master Gautama say about this? Right? So whatever person experiences is caused by what was done in the past. So everything is cause and conditions. So that's what there are some ascetics and Brahmins who hold this view. Okay, that sounds like a lot of people what Buddhists believe as well, right? I've heard this so many times. Okay, let's see what Buddha says. Some feelings, Sivaka, arise here, originating from bile disorders. That some feeling arise here originating from bile disorders one can know for oneself, and that is considered to be true in the world. Now when those ascetics and Brahmins Now, when those ascetics and Brahmins hold such a doctrine and view as this, whatever person experiences, whether it's pleasant or painful, or neither painful nor pleasant, just sort of feeling you don't even feel, all that is caused by what is done in the past. They overshoot what one knows by oneself, and they overshoot what is considered to be true in the world. Therefore, I say that this is a wrong on the part of those ascetics and Brahmins. So all the disease, so we have the bile disorders. It's just a name for disease. If I go to doctor these days, I don't say I have a bile disorder. But if you went in ancient India, maybe even these days, you say, oh, I have a bile disorder, or the doctor comes. That's how they diagnosed you. So if those Brahmins and ascetics, if they come and say, that's from my past, that comes from my past, they overshoot what one knows by oneself, and they overshoot what is considered to be true in the world. So that's not the Buddha always thought which is true in the world, and that's the Dhamma. Dhamma is it's true in the world. We in Buddhism, we don't try to bend our faith to match the world. If something doesn't match, then that cannot be Dhamma. Dhamma, it always matches with the world. Okay, so it's quite a short sutta, but let's go a little bit. Some feelings, Sivaka, arise here originating from phlegm disorders, originating from wind disorders, originating from imbalance of the three, produced by the change of climate, produced by the careless behavior caused by assault, produced as a result of kamma. That some feeling arise here product as the result of kamma, one can know for oneself, and that is considered to be true in the world. Now, when those ascetics and Brahmins hold such a doctrine and view as this, whatever person experiences, whether it be pleasant or painful, or neither pleasant nor painful, all that is caused by what was done in the past, they overshoot what one knows by oneself, and they overshoot what is considered to be true in the world. Therefore I say that this is wrong of the part of those ascetics and Brahmins. Okay. When this was said, the wanderer Molyasivaka said to the Blessed One, "Magnificent Master Gautama," sadhu, that's the sadhu, magnificent Master Gautama. "From today, let the Master Gautama remember me as a lay fellow who has gone for refuge for life." And then he gives this little poem here at the end where he recites this. Pile, phlegm, and also wind, imbalance and climate too, carelessness and assault, with kamma as the eighth. Kamma results as the eighth. So, okay, let's take these things. So, bile, phlegm, and wind. Those are the three kinds of diseases. So usually they said, it's the Buddha said, quite often somebody comes to you and he said, how are you? And he said, no, the winds are just so strong in my body. That's how they call the diseases, the phlegm disorders, and the imbalance in your body. We don't talk about diseases that way anymore. And this is interesting. Produced by the change of climate. So that would be the next one. So that's nothing to do with you. It gets in the winter, you might get sick. It gets in the winter and maybe you feel down because you don't get so much sun. Is it your kamma? No, it's just nature. Produced by the careless behavior. If you accidentally step on a stake. Let me tell you a story. During the last Vasa, I was in Bodhinyana. We have this thing with Ajahn Brahm and I, we go for walks. Ajahn Brahm is my good friend in Bodhinyana. When it's during the Vasa, you just sit all day and you just get a bit, your mind gets a bit muddled because you don't have that much energy. So once in a while we go for little walks and we try to, walk at a brisk pace, and we try to limit our talking too much, and we talk about Dhamma. And somebody will like, if a lot of you know Ajahn Brahm, it's a beautiful thing. Imagine for me, I can just go for walks many times a week with a great teacher like Ajahn Brahm. We were walking, this Bodhinyana in Perth, it's on the steep hills, and there's this gorgeous and steep hills. And we went down from Ajahn Brahmali's kuti, and we, into this gorge, and we start walking up this really, really steep hill. And there was this stake, really was a long stake. And we were almost running. Ajahn Brahmali, he used to be like a sports person, so he's had these massive legs, and I have like really short legs, so I'm like a little mice hobbling along with this giraffe with Ajahn Brahmali. He's just running ahead of me. And he was just walking, and I was just trying to like bouncing from rock to rock, like behind. And I stepped on this stake on this steep hill, and he went through my sandal like a butter, and through the sandal in the bottom of my foot, and he really like embedded. It was what happened. The neighbor's farmer, we have what they call the star pickets. They had taken the star picket, and obviously it was really deeply in the ground, and they just wiggled it off. So the iron had broken. Star picket has those 3 ends, and the one end was just cut into this like really like a dagger. So it was really long but very narrow, but it just went into my leg. So we were 1.5 hours away from the monastery. As monks, we don't have mobiles. I carry now the Newbury Monastery mobile, so because I'm working there so much. But so we were really far away in this like middle of nowhere. And we had to walk back. There's nothing else we could do. But was that my karma that I stepped on that stake? Did I cause maybe I stepped on the centipede when I was in my past life. And I was full of anger because the centipede, like it strike you. They're very painful, especially in Asia, those big centipedes. And I was so angry maybe in a past life, and I stepped on it, I killed it. And because of that, now this lifetime I stepped on a stake? No, it doesn't work that way. It was carelessness. I mean, it wasn't really, it was almost like accident, but you can say that carelessness and accidents and those things, it's the same category. It's not your karma. You're overshooting. Oh, I got in an accident, that was my karma. You're overshooting what you know, right? You're going too far with the karma. Okay, so that was the story, and I managed. I was so good. The best thing about this, Ajahn Brahm was really impressed because I hobbled all the way to monastery 1.5 hours with my. It just kept bleeding and bleeding and bleeding, and I think the good thing was like it cleaned that wound. So we went to the doctors afterwards. They cleaned it. They gave me a shot, and I was fine. It took me quite a while to get healed because it went into my foot. But anyways, all right. So carelessness, it's not your karma. Assault, it's not your karma. How could the Buddha say that? If somebody assaults you, they rob you, they just come and somehow assault you out of nowhere. The Buddha said it's not your karma, because you overshoot what you know. You don't know from the past that's caused, but you are adding stories. Maybe it is that person's karma to assault you. He did not pull himself back from the anger, from the greed. He wanted to rob you. He is creating karma, but is it your karma to get assaulted somewhere in the street? No, that's what the Buddha is saying. Can you see? Most of the things are not your karma. That's what the Buddha is saying. Karma is the result as the 8th. Okay. So, I tell another story. I was in India. I stayed in a monastery in India. It's a quite a nice monastery. It's there's a lot of little children, and they are come from very poor families, and their family have to put them in the monastery, and they stay there, and they get you educated there. And I stayed in this monastery in India. There are about 80 children, And there's this Swiss group came there, and they're supporting this monastery, and there's also a nearby orphanage where they get through this. So it's a beautiful thing to do if you ever, consider doing something good. Support orphanages and good organizations. They are out there. So this Swiss group, they're very organized. They got this thing going, and I met this. We went on this bus tour. We went for the monastery. Went to the orphanage a bit further away, and then I started to talk to this quite a young Swiss lady. And while we're talking about, all the normal questions, why did I become a monk? What is Buddhism and all that? They support these orphanages, and it's the founder is a Buddhist, and she's she's supported me many years as well. But a lot of the rest of them, they meditate. They don't really consider themselves Buddhist. But so she was still interested, and we were talking about this kamma, and then she told me this story. She was quite distraught about this. And she said that what happened, she went to, just wanted to have a good time with her friend. It wasn't her boyfriend, but it was a male friend, and they just somebody she knew from the school, I think. And they, what should they do? So they went into a bar. That's what you do, you just go and have in this bar, and maybe it was more like a nightclub, I think it was. So, and what happened, she was there, and for some reason, there were a group of 4 guys, and they started to pick on on her friend. They just started to, abuse him, and just like they were just drinking there on a bar, and they were just like getting rowdy, and they was just pushing him a little bit and stealing his drinks or whatever happened. And he just, he just took the abuse, and he was just like not retaliating, and they was just moving along. But for some reason, especially this one guy, he just kept following him. And then they said, okay, well, that's it. It's not really fun. Let's just go home. So they went, and by that time, the group of 4 guys, they just happened to be outside having a cigarette there, because you cannot smoke inside. And the one guy, he started coming again and just like pushing him. And, they were obviously quite drunk. And it was just pushing this lady's friend. And he just got really fed up, and he just pushed him away. And this guy he's just startled backwards. He took a few steps, and he hit his heel in the sidewalk, and he went head first onto into the curb. And what happened? That guy got quadriplegic, so he was paralyzed from neck down. So she was crying, and she said, "What did we do wrong? They were bullying us. He was just out of wanted to get rid of that other fellow who was bullying him, just pushed him away. And out of just that accident, he became, paralyzed from neck down. And obviously they had to go to court if, something like that happens, and everybody was interviewed. I think there was he had to end up getting, I don't remember whether he even had to pay a fine for that. But so she was distraught, and and for me, I thought about it, and what can he really say? It's not your fault. Well, it's not really your karma. Again, it's an assault. It's carelessness. Did he produce a lot of bad karma for making somebody quadriplegic? Maybe not. What caused that thing to happen? Why don't we drink in Buddhist? Why do we take the precepts of not going into a certain place and not drink? So, especially for us monks, we shouldn't even go out at night time. We shouldn't hang out in certain places. Why? Because they're dangerous. So when they decided, every step on the way, when they were going in the bar, they were just wanting to have some good time, but everything they do to go towards that direction causes its karma. Everything you willfully made, you are going to the bar, you're going to drink. Every step in the way, you cause karma. Every one of those little steps. So if somewhere you would have said, let's just go for a cup of coffee and walk in a park, and let's watch TV indoors, or go and talk to other friends, go on the meditation club somewhere safe. It would not happen. give the karma opportunity to rise. If you start hanging out in the bars a lot, you give the karma opportunity to ripen. If you hang out in the monastery like I do, I don't really give that karma too much opportunity to ripen till somebody assault me in the bar. It might still happen. Maybe there's a karma, I go pindabat early in the morning, somebody just stumbles out of the bar and smashes into me because, who knows? But I don't give the opportunity to karma to ripen in that sense. There is nothing inherently bad about going to bars, obviously. But every time you do that, you give opportunity to ripen. So I asked, this was the sutta, so I figured out, it's like, oh, that must be the sutta. And so then I asked my dear teacher, Ajahn Brahmali, about this. I said, "This Ajahn Brahmali, is this the sutta? Where it explains the karma?" And Ajahn Brahmali says that yes, that's like to be the sutta you were looking for. In fact, this particular classification had 8 causes. So there's 8 causes for karma. For feeling is found in several places in suttas, and I cannot see any reason to think that it's not an original. The list may seem a bit weird, but it's mostly because they use an ancient Indian idea especially about illnesses. The disorders originating from bile, phlegm and wind are simply names for illnesses, which is very interesting because it means that illnesses generally are not due to karma. If you get sick, not your karma. Or if you look at some of the other factors, such as unsolved or careless behavior, it is obvious that a lot of what we experience has nothing to do with karma. Being careless and relying on your karma to help you out is not good to help you out, meaning getting out of the samsara. It's not the way to go. It's not that you create, there's a lot of big idea that you just get a lot of big punya, right? I've heard a lot of Sri Lankans say that. I know in Thai traditions, definitely. And a lot of monks always, if you hear Thai monks give a speech, and I don't speak, I can pick up, Thai here and there because I've been around that, in 9 years now and being a Thai ladies and Thai monks. And they always, they always say this word comes out when they start giving Dhamma talk, punya. Thai monks give talks like that all the time. Create good punya, this kind of something goodness from you, and that takes you to the good place. It's a bit dangerous thing to teach. Obviously, they're trying to uplift your mind, but if you're just trying to get a money in your bank account, and you somehow that creates your good karma, and that good karma will take you out. No. Samsara is what it is. You still experience pain and misery like the rest of us. So what did Ajahn Brahmali write? It's nothing to do with karma. Karma is mostly about where we get reborn. But once you're there, it's mostly about accepting the difficulties in life, of life. I like that. It's mostly where you get reborn. It's mostly about you get reborn where? In the human plane. Why? Because we know how to get born as a human. It's just our habit. That's a really, really strong habit we have. The Buddha had a simile about to get a human rebirth. It's like a turtle swimming in the sea, and he pokes his head out once in 100 years or something it was. And if he pokes the head out of the ocean, it's putting through the head through a yoke, what they yoke the horses. So you would like to see the turtle is swimming there, and it's just out of ocean. It just pokes its head and it's like puts the head through the yoke. That's there's a simile like that, and sometimes people say that, oh, well, that means that it's really, really out of nowhere that we get this opportunity to get born as a human being. That it's taken out of the context. What does that mean? It means that if you are some other plane, let's say you're an animal, let's say you're Peta, you're an Deva locus, for you to get born as a human, it's a really strange happening. It's really good luck to get born as a human. But once you are human, you get born as a human. That's how it is, because we're used to it. You don't get born as a fish. Maybe if you swim a lot all the time. I don't know, maybe not, even then. But mostly we get born as a human. Mostly we get born in the situations you feel comfortable to. You get born as a Sri Lankan. I got born as a Finn. But something in me got me interested into the Dhamma, and something in me, once I heard I could be a monk, I wanted to go for it. There was something in my karma. But most likely, you won't get born as a Kenyan because you don't have any contact with them. Maybe if you spend a lot of time in Australia, you most likely would get born as an Aussie. But what happens, most of the time we get born into same families. Because your family, you have a strong attachment to your family. And I can feel that attachment. Maybe you don't even notice that, because if you're with your family all the time, you don't see that attachment. But for me, I see my family maybe once a year. This year I went there and I saw my family maybe a week and a half. Whole year I see my family a week and a half. And I can see the connection. It's very easy for me to be around my mother. As if I never left. I can just be with my mother and it's easy. She knows what to cook, what I like. She treats me a certain way of this, like you treat your children. And it's very comforting for me to be around her. And same for my father. We can just be in silence. We don't have to talk about things. We don't have to introduce ourselves because we know each other. We know the family. It's so easy to get born in the same family because that's your condition. Same thing for you, or for me rather. I remember I was teaching, we conducted this retreat. I tried to help the Buddhist community in Finland as well. I'm the only Theravada monk from Finland, so I'm a rare species. You have to take care of me. I might go distinct if you don't take care of me. And so I conducted this retreat. We went to this walk. It's a beautiful time of the year because it's springtime. Now it's midsummer, but it was springtime a month ago. And we went to this island, and it's a beautiful island just outside of Helsinki, the capital. And we took a boat there, and there's just old villas, it's really nothing was built there after 50s. And the only way that they get this boat. So what we did, we took this, what you call the nature walks. And we went there and we set out the rules. Okay, we're gonna walk in silence. There was the group leader who's been there before. He said, you're gonna lead, and we're just gonna walk silently, walk through the nature, and just observe. And then afterwards we can do the talking and wrapping up. And we walked into places and meditated a little while for one place, looking into the ocean. It's just absolutely beautiful there, looking into the oceans there in springtime. Everything is green. And there's it's fluorescent clean. Not like here in Australia. Everything is quite dark green. Over there, everything is so bright. And I can smell everything. It reminds me of my childhood. All the spring smells are coming because I grew up there. It reminds me, when you smell something, you don't have to think about, I remember that. It's just the smell, you associate that straight away with something. It's like the fresh cut grass, or cooking, what you remember some, and you just where you remember that smell. Certain things, like I always spend summers with my grandmother's place in a really remote part of Finland, And, she had a horse and sheep and, 3 or 4 cows and all that. So it was very farm. So I know the smell of grass when it starts coming in the springtime. And that, and the trees, I know the names of the trees. I know the birds which are singing that time of the year. Because I grew up in that nature. And I could feel the craving coming to me. Oh, this is so nice. I hold on to that idea. It's so easy to hold into the idea of childhood memories. It's so difficult to let them just, you let them go. And I can see, we had this, meeting afterwards, and they said, okay, let's talk about what you experienced. And everybody was saying how beautiful, quiet it is, and it's so nice to walk in the nature, and you see so much more. And I said, I suffered so much. I can see myself why I get born there. Because I feel so comfortable there. I know that place. And I said, and I was trying to explain, and the leader, he said, now is the first time I understood what you mean by that. You get born in a certain place. Rest of them, the rest of the group was sort of just like, they thought I was a bit of a downer, that I was just putting down this beautiful experience. But I said, I really, really suffered because it was so beautiful, and I wasn't just letting the beauty be there. I was making stories about it. It's mine. This is my country. This is where I belong. So, see, we get born to certain places. It's easy for us because we recognize that. You recognize your family, you feel comfortable. You recognize the culture you come from, maybe. But at least you recognize you're a human being. You get born as a human. What's given? Happiness is given. But the flip side of happiness is suffering. That's your karma. You get born as a human. Sure, it is your karma. But mostly rest of the stuff, not your karma. What is it? Nature. Nature will take care of it. And you get sick. You get old age. It's given. Nothing can stop that. And it's not your karma. It's just because you didn't read the fine print. I get born as a human? I get sick. Well, I don't know if I want that. I get old? I think I should take the Devaloka next time. What do you expect? That's when you get born here. Very good. So I was thinking about it a little bit more, but about the karma, and there's so what causes good karma then? And the Buddha did teach good karma. And there is a sutta, the law of karma, why beings fare as they do after death. And it's a bit longer sutta, but there is again, somebody goes and talks to Buddha. And, he says, you are the Buddha, could you tell me about what is the cause and conditions why some beings are here, some beings here on the breakup of the body after death are reborn in a state of misery, in a bad destination, in a low realm, low world, in hell. And what is the cause or condition why some beings here on the breakup of the body after death are born in a good destination, even in a heavenly world? So that's a very normal Brahmin question. Brahmins were always aiming, into the high realms, and they were, like what could take us there, and they were worried about the hell and heaven, and for them it was just almost the ultimate. For us, we're trying to aim out of here. Don't try to aim anywhere. The Buddha, I'll give you a simile. The Buddha said, even if you get born as a non-returner, non-returner is the one way you are almost enlightened. Almost. You don't come back ever again as a human. You are going to the Devaloka, in a very high Devaloka. And you from there, you practice there a long time, and it's a beautiful place to practice. Everything is so good. and from there you just disappear. You don't get born anywhere else anymore. And as a deva anyways, you don't get born there, you just appear. Devas don't get born. Devas don't get born as a baby and get teenager and grow up. Devas just appear, and you have a full body, nice set of clothes, and you're in the Devaloka. So as a non-returner, that's where you are. And what did the Buddha say about that? Oh, aim there. Did he say that? No. The Buddha said, even that is like a little piece of shit underneath your nail. You can always smell it. Even that little bit, get born there, it still has a little bit of shit underneath your nail. Don't aim there. Even it's not the good place to get born as a non-returner. What about rest of us? We have everywhere, all of our nails up it too. Okay, so the Blessed One said, so what could Master Gautama tell about, like, why do some people go to good place and some people not so good place? And householder, listen, attend closely to what I shall say. Yes, Venerable Sir, they replied there. Householders, there are three kinds of unrighteous bodily conduct. Conduct not accordance with the Dhamma. There are four kinds of unrighteous verbal conduct. Conduct not accordance with the Dhamma. There are three kinds of unrighteous mental conduct. Conduct not accordance with the Dhamma. And the Dhamma meaning how you should behave. That's what you can translate it here. Okay, so what are three kinds of unrighteous bodily conduct? So what do you do with your body? You kill living beings. He's murderous, bloody-handed, given to blows and violence. Merciless to living beings. He's an office maniac. Everybody, yesterday we were conducting a retreat and I was teaching loving kindness, and it was like, seriously, everybody kept asking about, oh, it's all good and that, but I have such a difficult people in office. So obviously these people, and that seems to be the question, and everybody asking yesterday. But so these people who are the office Nazis are not conducting themselves with the Dhamma. They're bloody-handed, maybe not bloody-handed. They're given to blows and violence, merciless to living beings. What's another unrighteous bodily conduct? He takes what is not given. He takes by the way of death, the wealth and property of others in the village or forest. Another one, he commits sexual misconduct. So these are the 5 precepts. Actually it's not. The next ones are coming. So, and that is how there are 3 kinds of unrighteous bodily conduct, not conduct with accordance with the Dhamma. So you're merciless. You just you do actually physical acts of violence, sexual misconduct, and hang on, what was the word? Oh, of course, stealing. Yeah. And householders, what are the unrighteous verbal conduct? The 4 kinds, which are not according to Dhamma. He speaks falsehoods. And then the Buddha talks about if you go to the court and relatives present, how you should be, saying that it's like, oh, if somebody says, did you see that? Well, you should tell, what you saw instead of tell you what you know. Not knowing, he say, I know, or knowing, he says, I do not know. Not seeing, he says, I see, or seeing, he says, I do not say. So you speak, don't try to, speaks falsely. Don't try to change, what you heard into other thing. That's wrong speech. He speaks maliciously. He repeats elsewhere what he has heard here in order to divide those people from these, or he repeats those people what he has heard elsewhere, or in order to divide those people from those. Thus he is one who divides those who are united, a creator of divisions, who enjoys discord, rejoices in discord, delights in discord, speaks of words that create discord. That is really important ones, and for us monks as well, we should we have to be really careful as a monk. We don't try. We have to keep the sasana harmonious, and that's why every time we do a meeting as the Buddhist monks, we can talk about it, and afterwards you cannot bring the issue anymore. And it would be nice if everybody would behave that way, but unfortunately it doesn't work that way. So he speaks harshly. He utters such words are rough, hard, hurtful to others, offensive to others, bordering on anger, not conducive to concentration. He engages in idle chatter. He speaks in the wrong time, speaks what is not fact, speaks that is what is useless, speaks contrary to the Dhamma and the discipline. At the wrong time he speaks, such words are worthless, unreasonable, immoderate, unbeneficial. These are the 4 kinds of unrighteous verbal conduct. And householder, what are the 3 kinds of unrighteous mental conduct? Conduct not in accordance with the Dhamma. Here someone is covetous. He covets the wealth and property of others thus. Or may what belongs to another be mine. Or he has a mind of ill will and intentions of hate. May these beings be slain and slaughtered. May they be cut and perish, or annihilated. Or he has wrong views, distorted vision thus. There's nothing given, nothing offered, nothing sacrificed, no fruit or result of good and bad actions. Kamma. No this world, no others, no mother, no father, no beings who are reborn spontaneous, no good and virtuous ascetics and brahmins in the world, who have themselves realized by direct knowledge and declare this world another world. That is how there are 3 kinds of unrighteous mental conduct not in accordance Dhamma. So obviously, in Buddhism we always say, and in the suttas, we always have the negative. So there's always the positive. So the positive, which is according to the Dhamma, obviously. So you abstain for this. Okay, so with the bodily behavior, you abstain from the destruction of life. You are merciful. You dwell compassionate to all living beings. You abandon what is not given. Abstains from taking what is not given. He does not take the wealth of others. He abandons the sexual misconduct. And the verbal conducts. You abstain from false speech. Abandon malicious speech. He does not repeat elsewhere what he has heard here in order to divide those people from these. Nor does he repeat to those people what he have heard elsewhere in order to divide these people from those. Thus he is one who reunites those who are divided, promoter of friendship. He enjoys concord, he rejoices in concord, delights in concord, speaks words that promote concord. Abandoning harsh speech, he abstains from harsh speech. He speaks such words that are gentle, pleasing to the ear and lovable, as go to the heart, are courteous, desirable many, and agreeable to many. Abandoning idle chatter, he abstains from idle chatters. He speaks at the right time, speaks what is fact, speaks what is good, speaks on the Dhamma and discipline at the right time. He speaks such words are worth of recording. Oh no. Reasonable, moderate, and beneficial. That is how there are 4 kinds of righteous verbal conduct in accordance with the Dhamma. And the mental conduct, so even your mental conduct, you have good mental conduct and not so good mental conduct, which produce kamma. Even your mind produce kamma. Yes, some is covetous, is not covetous, so this is producing good kamma. He does not, want other people's wealth and property. His mind is without ill will, and he has intention free from hate thus. May these beings be free from enmity, affliction, and anxiety. May they live happily. Metta. And he has also right view. There is what is given and what is offered, what is sacrificed. There is fruits and result of good and bad actions. There is this world and other worlds. There is mother and father. There are beings who are born spontaneous, good virgin, ascetics and Brahmins. They are good and virtuous as words themselves, who are realized by the direct knowledge and declare this world and other worlds. So that would be the Buddhas and the enlightened ones, the awoken ones. That is how there are three kinds of righteous mental conduct. Conduct accordance with the Dhamma, so householders, it is by reason of such righteous conduct, in accordance with the Dhamma, that some beings here on the breakup of the body after death are reborn in good destination, even in heavenly world. So, your karma is even your mind state, how you behave. So if you do something trying to hurt something out of ill will, that's bad karma. You are stabbing somebody. Obviously, because you want their money. That's really, really, really bad karma. It's going to leave this imprint in your mind. But if you're stabbing somebody because you're a doctor with your scalpel and you're trying to care about the patient, you're taking out the kidney stones, whatever it is, and even then there's a hospital bacteria and this poor patient dies. Did you create bad karma by killing that person? No, because you were acting out of caring, not out of hatred. You see how the karma works? So there is karma, there is results of karma. You do create karma. Everything you willfully make action, even when your mind, you are creating karma. Every action is karma. But most things are not caused by your karma. See how it's quite difficult? Do you get ill from your karma? Did you will to be ill? Will to be ill? That's fine. Can you say that, I may I not be ill? No, because that's nature. That's not your mind. You didn't make up that in your mind. There's nobody there. If you could say, may I be happy today? It doesn't work that way. Even your mind doesn't belong to you, right? I wish I could be. Every time you feel that kind of blueness, that kind of depression, anxiety, stress coming, how nice it would be. It's like, I'm just going to stop it here. That's it. Okay, good. I'm just going to be happy today. We wish it could work that way. It doesn't. We're humans. We have feelings. But that's nothing to do with your karma. Although, then you can say, if you want to uplift your mind, well, do something good. Go and listen to Dhamma talk. Go and serve, meet the monks and nuns if they uplift your mind. Or even a soup kitchen somewhere. Try to do something good. Stroke your pet. Be kind towards yourself. All those things. Now you are creating good karma. Because you are actually doing good physical things. You're doing good physical, you're doing good right verbal actions and also right mental actions. You are acting out of kindness. So you see the suffering arising, anxiety coming. Be kind towards it. It's so nice to be anxious again. Then you're creating good karma. If you try to get angry about the anxiety, you're creating more bad karma, and the anxiety gets worse. Very good. Any questions? Yes.
Topics on karma always generate a lot of questions.
Okay, good, great.
A question relates to Ajahn Brahm, who did a talk here once, and his father was a commercial fisherman.
Yeah.
So when he passed away, he said his father has a lot of karma to repay, something along the lines of that. But I've often thought about that in line with what you taught today, and the intention of his father was to, I don't know his father, but I'm
Yeah,
just
you would assume that feed
go
the
run with
family,
me on this,
you know, give the money
his
in the
intention
table.
was to earn a
Money.
living, to feed the world, feed people.
Maybe not the world, but
But maybe not the world.
Yeah.
But to feed people,
Yeah.
and but perhaps he wasn't there when he was fishing as a commercial fisherman to
yeah,
intentionally bludgeon these fish. And there was no intention of causing harm to them.
yeah.
So, what would you say around that?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I mean, obviously the Buddha said you should, you know, like in that sutta, you know, you should. He's a bloody-handed. He works in the slaughterhouses and kills animals. And there's we should avoid certain things like, you know, serving poisons, you know, and that would be, you know, you work in a bar, you know, and those kind of things. You try not to deal weapons. You try not to, you know, try to be away from certain jobs like, you know, being a slaughterhouse person who kills the animals. The fish, again, yeah, I could see that. It does. It would create, you know, that karma. The thing is, as a fisherman, obviously he didn't go into job because he wanted to be unkind to the fish. He just grew up in an environment where there was maybe in the seaside, and that was an obvious work to take on. And he could see, you know, it's maybe his father was a fisherman, who knows? And he just sort of, it wasn't his karma to get in there, and nobody ever told him anything that is bad. How can anybody in a fishing village say, you know, fishing is bad? It's just our livelihood. That's how we bring the money in, you know, like you said, the food in the table. And he wasn't intentionally torturing the fishes. So how much bad karma he did that? Great. Let me tell this way. I come from really rural background, so there's a lot of big forest around where I come from, and hunting is the thing. And my grandfather was almost a professional hunter. They just said he was just almost hunting for the whole village. And it's just the thing where men go into hunting. And there used to be a lot of game where I was in the generation before, like my father tells, and you know all the people who are in the village, that there used to be so much game, a lot of birds, moose, hare, all kind of things, where they used to go shooting all the time, and you could just, you know, get it all the time. But a lot of these older men now, because it's so rare to see these big birds which we hunt, that they stop doing it because they feel it's too precious. They don't feel good about it. A lot of old men who've been hunting for a long time, even the moose, which there are still excesses, you know, they cause a lot of damage, not just for the forest, but you also get a lot of accidents, car accidents. Moose are really dangerous when you hit. They're massive animals. They have really long legs, and when you hit them, they come into the windscreen and kills actually people. A lot of them, they say they cannot really do it anymore. They don't feel comfortable about it. There is something inside of these. Even these, they've been hunting since they were kids. They were taught by their fathers, and they've been hunting. They don't feel comfortable looking at that animal and shooting it, because it's this consciousness there. And I know the feeling myself. I shot one bird. That was enough. For me, it was a weird feeling, because you there's excitement of hunting. Fishing is maybe different, especially in a commercial, because you're just pulling the nets. But I remember when I was, you know, like, and I just came out of military, and in the military you carry the weapon everywhere. You keep shooting, and so you create this kind of habit when you're with the guns all the time. So you have this habit. So I had this habit coming when I came out of military, and my father had all the hunting gear there. So I was just like starting shooting. I was shooting target, and then one time I saw this bird, and these birds are annoying birds. They have not a beautiful voice, and they eat all the berries from and it's like, so nobody really likes those birds, unfortunately. So I saw this little one, and it wasn't ready to fly yet, but it's the size of an adult, but the feathers weren't ready yet, so it couldn't fly. So it was just hopping there, you know, just eating the worms. And I was like, oh, this is exciting. So I was just looking behind the house and seeing. I was like, oh, there he goes. So it's going to be the last blow for that one. And I take the rifle and I was just aiming. And it's so exciting. I hope that, the bird is not going to, just run off and then you're never going to cut it. And you shoot it. And as soon as I shot it, there's this empty feeling. The excitement just stopped. And I saw the bird just like hopped and then, it lands on the ground and it wasn't moving. And I was just hoping that maybe it's just acting. I hope I didn't kill it. Maybe it's just playing up and it is like wants me to walk away and then it's going to start walking again. And I go and it's like, oh, it's dead. And it was really an empty feeling. The excitement is not there anymore. There is excitement in hunting and even fishing, like you try to catch the fish when you're doing, just a little bit of fishing, just, throwing the line and all that. And there's excitement, but after you caught the fish, is there really excitement anymore? And killing the fish, all that, it just doesn't create really good feeling. Commercial fishing, yeah, I mean, there is that aspect, but it's difficult to say. It's a lot of things we do. The Buddha said, karma is like, there's black karma and there's white karma. The only ones who create really just white karma, who are those people? They're the Aryans. They are the fully awakened ones. They can create, only white karma. They don't really attach to that anymore, but they cannot create anything bad anymore. They cannot, say anything wrong anymore. They can only speak out of kindness. They cannot have bad mental conducts because their mind is pure. Everything they do, even if they accidentally bump into you, they do it just accidentally. They don't create bad karma. They would not go fishing. That wouldn't be white karma. But there's, black karma, and black karma would be the one where you are actually doing something out of spite, ill will, greed. You are fishing as much as you can, even though you know you don't need any more, but you just, you're greedy and you're depleting the fish on this stock, but you just take everything you can just so you can buy a new Mercedes. That might be quite dark. You're greedy. But most of the stuff is mixed. It's this kind of great stuff, right? You're fishing because you feed your family, so you provide them, and you're hoping your children will do well, and you educate them and all that. But at the same time, this is your livelihood. So you're creating these dark things. And most of the stuff we do, we're trying to do good, we're trying to act out of kindness, but there is this kind of holding into it. Oh, I'm helping somebody, but I wish they would respond back to me. You attach to that. As long as there is a sense of self, we always create, mixes. The karma is there. Very good. There's a question. Can you wait for a microphone so everybody can hear? Sorry, yeah.
Thank you. This is more of a comment and a question mixed together. The Buddha said that life is dear to all.
Yeah.
He was also noted for his great compassion.
Yeah.
So if one knows that life is dear to all, if one has compassion, how can anyone intentionally take a life, whether it be for commercial fishing or hunting or anything else?
Because you are born in a situation where that's just the norm and you don't think anything of it. I don't think,
Isn't that ignorance though?
Yeah. Is it ignorance? Yeah, sure, that's ignorance. But it's just, let's say my grandfather, who was almost like they said, I never met him, he died young. Whether it was his karma or not, I don't think so. But he was almost like a professional hunter. But he was really hunting for that, for the family, to feed the family. And there are tough times, in olden days. You had to hunt. Ancestors here, our ancestors in Europe, they had to hunt. Did they create bad karma? Did the, who dwelled here and they knocked the kangaroos? Are they creating bad karma? Were they creating bad karma? I'm not sure. Maybe the standards weren't so high. Maybe we are getting a bit more conscious about killing things. There's more and more interest into being a vegetarian. Not eating meat which is cruelly produced. That there is all the time this kind of interest that is this meat being produced by cruel means? So maybe there is. Sorry, yeah.
So can I ask a question then? If you had to choose between taking the life of an animal to keep yourself alive, or starving and possibly dying, what would the choice be? What would be the decision?
The thing is, I can see the question, but whether it's valid or not, is it gonna come? Are you gonna end up in the bush and there's a kangaroo and you need to shoot? No, might be. I would say better question would be: let's say you hit a kangaroo and it's not dead. Would you club it to death or leave it lying there? Which is more merciful?
It depends what your intention is. Is it to put the animal out of its misery, or is it to feed yourself because you're starving, for example?
Well, most likely we're not going to starve. I mean, it's a more hypothetical. But the Buddha said we should not kill animals, or even obviously going to the. So where's the limit then? I mean, as a monk, especially, I'm not supposed to. I'm really I have a lot of precepts, and killing is one of those high up there, and I shouldn't be. It's a difficult, especially for us monks. Like we had a cat in Bodhinyana, and he had a cancer, nose cancer. It's just skin cancer, because it's one of those cats who just love to lay in the sun all the time, and so I had this bald spot on its and then we take the cat's medical bills were higher than the whole monastery for 2 years. We were taking so good care of that cat, and his cat's name was Hammer Smash Face, and at the end it definitely looked like a smash face. The whole, the nose just rotted away, and none of us, was like, what can we do? We can't really put down the cat. And then at the end, I remember I came one morning and we were washing up bowls after the Pindabad, and I said, Hammer was really, kind. I said, Hammer, do you want to die? And he just goes like this. And I said, did everybody see that? And I said, Hammer, do you want to die? And he just goes like this. And I said, it's time to take Hammer to the vet. And we took the Hammer to the vet, and the vet was really angry at us. He said, you are making that animal suffer. They would have put down the Hammer for months ago. By this time the milk was coming out of his nose. It was really disgusting. It was but we were really, really trying to take good care of it. We didn't feel that it was time to go. But this time, everybody saw that I think it's time for Hammer to go. I think it was a merciful thing to do. So even for us monks, sometimes I remember there was sometimes we go into the teach in the prison and we come out nighttime and we hit the kangaroos. Only once, I remember now. But what can you do? Maybe it is more merciful to put the the animal out of the misery, even though it's not really. Am I creating bad karma? Sometimes you just have to take it. Or termites, you have to, some of the kutis in Bodhinyana, termites were eating. What can we do? We try to do our best. We removed all the wood, try to do our best. The termites were just making nest and eating the books, getting into your, bedding, eating everything. So we just had to we made a Sangha decision that we're going to get somebody to remove the termites. There's nothing we could do about it. We created bad karma as a Sangha, as a whole. Yes, we did. Those termites were, they were killed because of us. But sometimes you just have to take it. It's almost like that.
Thank you.
No worries.
This is more of a comment really too, because I well remember as a kid, got a lot of memories of people killing animals and so on, because times were very tough. And for our family, people would go out and kill rabbits.
Yeah.
So it's literally to put food on the table.
Yeah.
So they're very interesting issues. And also the killing of rabbits to feed the dogs that were, an integral part of farm life. Those things just had to go on if you were going to even keep dogs. So, I mean, it's just such difficult decision making, really. So I was just supporting what you were saying.
Yeah, yeah. And with the Kamma as well, with the one thing you have to remember with the Kamma, we think, we obviously trying to create as much as good Kamma we, possibly can. Try to be kind, act out of kindness, do good things. And the Buddha said, but even that is, it's a stick. And the stick always has two ends. And that's like the simile for your Kamma. When you take the stick and you throw it up in the air, which end is going to come down first? Hopefully it's going to be the heavy end, the goodness. You're going to get born in a good family. You get born in a good destination instead of like a poverty, war-torn country, somewhere like this. You get born in the family which takes care of you, and you feel like you're worthy of something. You don't have depression, ill will, those things. But the stick always have the light end, right? When you throw it up in the air, which end is going to come down? You don't know. Most likely will be the heavy end. And hopefully the heavy end is the goodness, kindness, generosity, all those things what the Buddha just, what I was just reading. But he might also land on the other end. That's why we have Nibbana. Otherwise there's no point of striving. Oh, I always do good and everything goes well forever and ever. We just get smarter and smarter and better. It doesn't work that way. There's always the light end. It might just land on the light end next time. You have to be careful. Try to get out of here.
Bhante, when does your will or intention is taken over by or influenced by cause and effect and influenced by karmic forces? So isn't it all sort of interwoven? Because, for instance, a person who is doing a lot of good, karmically was possibly born to a good family where there was, the conditions to do good, because someone who is suffering and is from, really poor background is struggling and unable to do the things that this other person who has been born to a good, generous sort of atmosphere and good parents. So isn't it all interwoven together? I mean, it's very difficult to say this is intention and this is karma and this is nature and cause and effect. Can you comment on that, please?
Sure. First of all, karma doesn't belong to you. It's not your karma. Otherwise, you could just sort of use your karma. Oh, now I created a lot of good karma. I get born there, heavenly realm. Maybe. It's just cause and conditions in that sense that it just sort of pushes you in a certain direction. There is nobody there to begin with. That's what you have to remember. Anatta, the Buddha said, if there's no self there, who does the karma belong to? It's not like a bank account. You can sort of go and tap into it. It doesn't belong to you. It's just, it takes you to a certain direction. Only thing you can do, let's say there's anatta. Well, how can we do anything really? The only thing Ajahn Brahm always says, the only thing you can do is sort of, you see that, you get brainwashed by the Dhamma, and you try to act according to the Dhamma. You see the danger in the, in the wrong actions, and you turn away from the, wrong actions, from the, which is not karma. And I think I forgot most of your question, but what? Sorry.
What I said was really now it is somebody's intention
to
do something.
Yeah. So
But at the same time, there is the conditions that influence that person, and at the same time, there is some karmic force behind it. So it's
Well-
all interwoven. That's my
yeah.
question.
So okay. Well, then again, everything is. Let's say that it's cause and conditions. So obviously it is. There's nobody there. You are. The conditions come to your mind from the outside, and that makes you go to one direction. Is that your karma then? The karma is there because you are sort of willingly, that's your will, is like, okay, I'm gonna go into that direction. Everybody's, they're advertising alcohol and everybody seems to be drinking. This is the culture in Australia. I drink as well because I'm part of the culture. You are willingly going to that direction, or you are turning away from that. The only thing you can really is to, turn away from somewhere. And that's, in that way you're creating wholesome karma. But you don't really, it still doesn't belong to you. But yes, every action, every thought moment, if you act on it, is karma. Creates karma, rather. Every thought moment, every action you make, if it's with will, creates karma. So karma, all the time you are creating karma, but it doesn't, how much of that is going to influence you? It's a difficult topic, I don't know how to, but do you realize it's every those small little things, so it's not like these big things. I killed an elephant and get stumped by an elephant next lifetime.
But we also say, I'm the owner of my karma, born of my karma, by dependent on my karma. So any good or bad I do, surely I'm the owner of the karma. We say that. So, but what you're saying is we don't own the karma. But we are actually chanting that.
Yeah, we are. You are heir to your karma in that sense that it's this, like, you can imagine it this way. It's like a big ship going in one direction. There is nobody really steering the ship because it's a big ship. You think you're steering it. You think you're in there like in a tower and watching, oh yeah, I'm going to this direction. I'm going to the good direction. But you're not. You don't know. There's a lot of karma from all those previous lifetimes. That's just like a big tanker. And it's sailing to one direction. You cannot turn it. And that's why there's an idea of, oh, I don't practice now, but then when I come to the last moment, I have this thought, I want to get born in a Devaloka. It doesn't work that way, because the ship is going to that direction. And you want to go that direction, but it doesn't work that way. If you are most of your life prone to violence and, abusing alcohol and relationships and all that, your ship will go to that direction. If you train, I've been so fortunate being, coming across, Dhamma and, being trained by good monks, that I'm changing my direction into loving kindness more and more, starting from myself. I'm not a special person, but I just have to keep adding loving kindness towards myself, my actions and my mind and all that. And by that, my mind is steered towards, more and more metta. And hopefully that will steer me again into the right direction, or even away from here. But whether I still get sick, I still get born probably in the same family if I get born. But my mind is now conditioned with the, metta, more and more.
But the person who was born to these unfortunate circumstances, who is killing and who is stealing, all this kind of thing, surely that's his karma. Something must happen for him to change that. Maybe meet a monk or, get the opportunity to go to a place. So it's all interwoven. That's what I'm trying to to you, Bhante.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Sure. But whether it's karma or not, I don't know. That's I get so these days, like everybody says, I'm sick, it's my karma. I just get okay, stop. Oh yeah, okay, sure, if you think so, that's fine. But I understand. I'm not trying to put you down. No. Yeah. Yeah. You're overshooting it. That's not your comment, no. For Pindapat? Yeah, it's time to stop, sure. I guess. I guess it's time to...
We do have one online question. but
Okay, let's
no
take the
way-
online question. I answer quickly. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's time for Dana. Yeah.
Okay, it's a little bit off topic, but I'm attached to my thinking that is so destructive at times. Do I need to physically detach from those I'm attached to so I can find peace?
Yes, yes. Move to the mountains in Himalayas and live in the cave for the rest of your life, and you never have problems with your thinking. It doesn't work that way. The thinking, the best holiday is not from other people, from yourself. When you take a break from yourself, oh, it's so nice. When I take a break from Mudito, it's so good. My thinking is just like, I'm fed up with Mudito. I wake up with Mudito, I go to sleep with Mudito, I'm with the Mudito, giving talks with the Mudito, and other people make comments how Mudito acts, and it's a lot of suffering. The only thing is to have kindness. Whatever it is, you cannot push it away. You cannot do anything about it. It will follow you. The only thing you can do, that's the only thing, but let's say the best thing is to do always at metta, compassion, acceptance, everything. And we just keep at it on everything, and it becomes less and less and less. And same with the meditation. We were doing meditation retreat yesterday. Just acceptance, santuti, contentment. Oh yes, I can see thinking coming, that's fine, nothing to do with me, just clouds coming in the sky. No, there's nothing you can do. You cannot change your dog barking, or your mom giving instructions, or your father telling you how to behave, and husband, wives, and co-workers, and office workers. And that's life. Chip away. Metta. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.